This comes to us from the Lunduke Journal. And he says, Microsoft is the queen of big tech Pride Month. WordPress, Riot Games, Apple, Gnome, and Sega all are promoting Pride Month 2025. But Microsoft has gone all in on trans activism and pride to the extreme. And I'll tell you guys, and if it's not your first night here, you would already know. I say this every time. This after I did a lot of research and spoke to a lot of people in the know. The epicenter of woke always leads back to Microsoft every single time. Let's see what Lunduke has to say about it.
Microsoft has gone all in on Pride Month this year. Pride Month 2025 is Microsoft's jam, from their games division to just the whole gosh darn corporation. I started putting together a list of all the big tech and open source companies and foundations and whatnot that were celebrating pride, that were, doing the trans activism thing and whatnot during June, just to keep a tally, right? Doing a couple of screenshots here and there and just keeping a running list. And what's been really interesting is that there are a lot of companies that in years past have gone just whole hog on the pride thing, just gone nuts for pride, who are not even mentioning it this year. And then there are other,
which, by the way, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm like, it feels like the whole pride stuff and the gay month, whatever, June Pride Month, is taking a massive step back. Like, many of these companies have realized that it's not the right climate to do that anymore. They're reading the room properly, and they stopped it, like full stopped it. And people are like, great, getting back to some sort of level of normalcy. And then we have Microsoft.
There are companies that are doing the pride thing, and we'll go over some of them real quick here, but none of them to the extent of Microsoft. It is insane, the level of pride that is just filling all of Microsoft. So let's run through it real quick of the ones that I've seen, and I've missed stuff. Feel free to let me know any of them that I've missed, and I'll add them to the list. Of course, we'll start off with Gnome, the Gnome Foundation, who makes the open source desktop environment for Linux. They famously, thanks to reporting here, have announced that they wanted Pride Month to not just be June, that they wanted Pride Month to be like 2 months. They wanted Pride Month to start early. So they started Pride Month early and released a bunch of wallpapers and installed on your systems. If you were running stock Gnome desktop on a Linux system, they installed Pride wallpapers for you, whether you wanted them or not. Whether you wanted the trans flag wallpaper, you get it. So thanks, Gnome. KDE, the K desktop environment, they did something kind of similar, but much less. They didn't make any big announcement about how we want Pride Month to be 17 months long. No, they just updated their pictures and artwork everywhere. And of course, Elementary OS has been doing a lot of the trans rights thing, but that's not terribly surprising. They're a Linux distribution that is run by a guy that thinks he's a lady now, and he's told people that if they don't love trans activism, that they shouldn't use his Linux distro.
It's a mental disorder. It should not be encouraged. You're actually doing these human beings a disservice by encouraging it. You're making them go down a very dark, dark path. And the more that people continue to do it, the more it's going to perpetuate the mental instability. And it needs to be stopped, because they're going for the kids and they're trying to get at kids now. And yikes. As a dad, I don't think I'd care that much, honestly, if I didn't have kids. This kind of stuff never used to affect me. I used to be like a live and let live, whatever. Now that I have kids, I take this shit personally. And I'm like, nope, full stop.
Distribution or whatever. So that's not terribly surprising. Moving on, Google did surprisingly little for Pride Month this year. They started.
Yeah, Google took a huge step back. I noticed that as well.
Out the first 2 days of Pride Month with a Google Doodle, the little animated thingy doodly whoppers when you go to google.com, that was supposed to be pride focused. It is in celebration of Pride Month. Today's doodle celebrates hyperpop, a genre slash anti-genre of electronic music pioneered by LGBTQ plus artists. First, I have no idea what hyperpop is. Second, okay, looking at the picture, it just looks, I don't know, like a really bad Winamp skin. I couldn't tell you what I'm looking at here, but so far, this has been the bulk of Google's promotion of Pride Month for 2025, which is a big step down from years past. Apple did stuff that was pretty much on par with what they usually do. Apple usually comes out with like a new watch band for Pride or things like that, and they did that this year. But they also released some wallpaper, and that was the primary feature of a minor point upgrade for iOS and macOS was that it added Pride themed wallpapers, and it's just stripes of various colors, but they're the Pride themed colors.
It's still like nobody wants this stuff. Stop putting it into it.
You know, with the trans specific hues of, I don't know, what is that, rose pink and light blue or whatever. And of course, like Gnome, they pre-installed trans themed wallpaper on your computers and phones.
I dream of a world where years from now, hopefully sooner than later, we look back at this time and roll our eyes as a species, like the whole, what the hell were we thinking? Like with a lot of this kind of stuff, because yikes, it's like unchecked, unhinged, mentally ill people that get very violent if they don't get their way. It's like scary.
Whether you want them or not, which is kind of a jerk move, but I guess it's fine. I don't have to use the wallpaper. It's just kind of weird. Let's see. Yeah, so they have an Apple Watch Pride Edition sport band. So you can, I guess, buy a sport band for your watch in Pride. Now let's talk about Microsoft. All right, so I posted this up here on X as I've been keeping track of this. Microsoft is beginning their Pride 2025 Activism campaign.
In a weird way, Inkling, this kind of brings up a whole sidebar conversation that I definitely don't have time for tonight, but the whole trans push proves to me that no matter how far humanity progresses, we can never live in a utopia, because there will always be people that are trying to push an ideology away from a nuclear family, trying to indoctrinate kids, trying to get more people to be like them. If you want to be trans, I say this all the time, have at it. I genuinely have nothing against you being trans. I genuinely don't. I think it's weird as fuck and you're mentally ill, but you can do it. That's your life you're living. Have at it. But when you start trying to inject that into video games or pride parades, and people start bringing kids to that stuff, and you start seeing these videos of people naked with kids right there, it's like, bro, no, this ain't it. This is not okay. So I don't know what to tell you, but you want to close the bedroom door, be of legal age with the person that you want to do whatever stuff you want to do with. I genuinely don't care. I got enough problems in my life. I don't want to worry about that kind of shit. But keep it in your bedroom, please. We beg you.
Pain with a series of financial donations to LGBT organizations. Microsoft is also continuing to promote their Pride themes for their...
Oh, speaking of, by the way, the Wild Man of Yavin says, welcome to America. Do whatever you want. Now stay away from the kids. Great point. I do find it interesting how there was a controversy a couple years back when there were reports of people just stating, like, yeah, stay away from the kids. Like, just, I don't care what you do. Nick Merckx comes to mind. Stay away from the kids. That's all he said. And they tried to cancel him over that. Like, what? How is that a cancelable offense? Because he cares about the kids and steering clear of this shit? These people are nuts. Their ideology blinds them from logic.
Software. So you can have Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and other office software have a transgendered and pride themes. It's a very real thing. It's ridiculous. They had this last year, and they're just kind of updating them and revamping them for this year. In addition, Microsoft is highlighting a series of trans and LGBT whatever related stories, including advocating for trans children. I should make note. I'm going to show you some screenshots here, but I should make note that encouraging their employees to get sex changes for their small children as young as 3 years old has been going on at Microsoft for years.
Still happens, by the way. They support it and pay for it. Think about that.
With the software giant ensuring their mandatory health care plan covers sex change procedures and treatments and hormones and therapies and whatever for minors. I've covered this repeatedly, and Microsoft has multiple internal groups specifically focused on
like, you think that the YouTubers are like blowing shit out of proportion just for attention and clicks? And I'll give you, yeah, I'm sure YouTubers do that all the time. I'm sure you could even claim that I've done that all the time. This is not one of those situations. This is like a stage 5 red alert, like, holy shit, what is happening? The richest organization, wealthiest financial company on the Fortune 500, most valuable company in the stock exchange, is paying for employees' kids to trans as young as 3 years old. And this is just kind of like people are accepting of it because they have all the money in the world, that it's just like, that's normal now? Like, what? No?
Helping their employees convince their children to have genital mutilation. It's
Oh yeah, did my Kick stream go down? Why did Kick stop? Hold on. Oh no, it's still working. Kick's still there.
very, very bizarre, very, very creepy, and very, very illegal. So they made a big post. We're donating $100,000 to LGBTQIA plus nonprofits. Okay.
Yeah, try to refresh.
And then they started exposing these stories about trans issues, specifically around kids and some of their employees. Trans representation changed my life. I show up by listening first, and all sorts of
Literally nothing to do with work. This shit needs to get out of the workplace. Get it out. This has nothing to do with getting the job done. This is a side effect of making too much money, where people start losing focus of what they actually do there because they have more money than they know what to do with. So they start changing topics and start focusing on other things. I've said about this previously in other videos. My brother told me a story about one of his buddies that worked at Microsoft, and it was at a company that got purchased. They were a manager, and the company that got purchased, they never actually did anything with them. And this person told my brother that they didn't even know what they needed to do. And they were there for years before anything even happened, before they even got redirected to do anything. They're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, doing nothing for years. And they said it was everywhere in Microsoft. It's not like just him. It was everywhere because they have so much money. They don't know what to do with it. They're just buying companies up and then figuring it out years afterwards what to do with the people. It's insane. It's gross.
Random stuff. As far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a father. With the passage of a new law, thanks to all those who pushed for it, I'm now the first single LGBTQIA plus dad in my... Okay.
Right there. Hypersonic nailed it. What does Pride Month have to do with technology? Nothing. Nothing. Keep that shit in the bedroom. When did this become a thing where it gets pushed out everywhere at work? Like, accept this or get fired is a very weird thing. It's a very weird thing. Never used to have to worry about this before companies became mega bloated with infinite money. But now that they are basically the size of a small country with their finances, they can create rules that supersede government and get away with whatever they want. And no one's going to call them out on it because exactly what Tech Leader said. It's a cult.
And here's some pictures and screenshots of the trans and LGBT whatever pride themes for PowerPoint, Excel, and Word, because you can't have Excel without a pride theme. Through community, I understand my daughter more deeply. And they have a couple of stories in here about Microsoft employees.
If my kids came to me and told me they were trans, I would think I failed as a father. I would not be like, oh, I'm so proud of my kids. I'm so supportive. I'd be like, nope, I failed as a father. And I feel like that needs to be instituted more in society, where people aren't proud of their kids for being trans. It's like no.
Transing their kids, so they're really pushing the make sure your minors are getting trans operations things. It's crazy. Now Microsoft's laser focus on advocating for Pride Month continues with their games divisions. Activision Blizzard, which is owned by Microsoft now, that still is weird to me.
Yep.
Is incorporating
that should have never happened, by the way. Never.
Pride designs throughout their game Overwatch 2, including a complete Pride festival in game, and that's a real thing. And Xboxes now have a dynamic LGBTQIA plus backgrounds. I'm going to show you some screenshots of that.
When all this stuff starts crashing down and failing, they don't care. They don't care. They'd rather lose the money and inject ideology on the masses than make money because they have the money to lose. That's what's scary about it.
This. So Overwatch 2 celebrate Pride. And then, so yeah, in the game, let me read this from what website was this from? I forgot which news site this was from. Of course, it wouldn't be Pride in Overwatch 2 unless we brought back the unique Pride. Oh, this is from Blizzard's own website. Unless we brought back the unique Pride Festival to the Midtown hybrid map. Pride festivals around the world continue a tradition of showing courage and solidarity for everyone in the LGBTQ plus community, and Midtown is no different.
What if you don't agree with it? What if you don't want to show solidarity? What if you don't want to be a part of this? Why is this like the default? Why are they trying to make that the default option? Like, no, that's what you do. You fall in line with the cult. And if you don't do that, you're banished from the cult. Why is that a thing? What does this have to do with a video game? Again, why can't they ever answer that?
You'll be able to play in the Midtown celebration in quick play, competitive, and its own dedicated card within the arcade. Jump in and play before the confetti stops falling on June 30th. And they've got little, crosswalks done in the LGBTQ rainbow. By the way, at some point, we need to take back the rainbow as a symbol.
I agree, by the way. I agree. I don't know how though, but I agree.
Because it meant a lot of things, including stuff from the Bible, long before it had anything to do with pride. So I don't know, at some point we'll need to take that back. But in game, so if you like Overwatch 2, you now have to play in a pride parade. And Xbox has added a Pride 2025 dynamic background. And I took a look at them. And honestly, it just looked like random colorful plasma backgrounds. I wouldn't have even known they were Pride based if you didn't say it. They look horrible. They look like they want to make your eyes bleed, but they don't necessarily look like LGBTQ whatever. They're just like plasma, a bunch of colors in a futuristic whatever thing. Okay. Riot Games, moving away from Microsoft momentarily, because the games industry, the whole bunch of these companies went full on Pride. Riot, the makers of League of Legends, is heavily promoting Pride Month, according to them, in game and out. pride themed emotes, so you can have pride themed, I guess, dances or something in the game, mini games, and content throughout their games, plus a financial donation to an organization which advocates for LGBT within big tech. So there's a whole bunch of
indoctrination. This is basically, ironically, the vast majority of these people, you could argue, do not believe in God, do not have a religion. So they turn the LGBTQ plus into their own religion and then start using that as a shield against any kind of criticism or pushback, which you could argue religious people can also do, by the way. But at least with religious people, they have a moral foundation against what is happening. Whereas this is just some fucked up ideology that has no basis or premise of anything whatsoever, except for, hey, I just want to do it.
pride themed stuff. From their website, June 1st is right around the corner. This came out just right before then. Which means it's almost time to celebrate Pride Month. This year, we're providing ways for players to represent themselves in-game, celebrating all the LGBTQIA plus players that contribute to our community, blah, 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 blah. Then they donate a bunch of money. The Pride...
There has to be some sort of recourse and repercussion to these companies that do this. But it's so widespread. And it's a problem with, like, when you become a monopoly and you own everything, that's how you can get away with pushing propaganda, because you own it all. Microsoft should have never been able to buy Activision Blizzard. Now that they have it, they can push this shit, and people can't boycott everything, because then there won't be any games to play left except like some indie games. That's the problem. The more mature the industry gets, the less companies that are out there, the more that they're all owned by the same entity. Look at Sony buying Bungie, Microsoft buying Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, King, every game company under the sun, it feels like. All these companies are being owned by singular entities. And then when they start pushing it out there, it's like, what are you going to do? You got to play one of our games. That's their approach. That's their approach.
Collection in our Inside the Games grows every year, according to Riot. This year, we've got new emotes, minigames, and gun buddies spread across our games, as well as the return of a lot of previous year's Pride content. So trans Pride gun buddies. I don't know what that is, but it's weird sounding.
What? Trans Pride gun buddies? What?
In League of Legends Rainbow War Paint, a new emote featuring Rel hits the rift. The Rainbow Rel joins TF and Graves and VI emotes, which are all returning from the past few years of Pride. On TFT's Convergence, you can claim the Little Legend Arcade Kiki, who brings an iconic energy. Double down on the Kiki strut emote, and you're ready for the runway. So I'm guessing that's like a drag queen thing. I'm guessing, basing on this. See everything both in games we're doing for Pride, as well as a new content, and over to blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
coming down
Halo
here a little
Studios
bit.
is another one.
And oh my gosh, look at this. More Microsoft stuff. Halo. Seriously, they're doing Pride and Halo, guys. Halo, which again is owned by Microsoft, is engaging in Pride Month activism with in-game Unity/Pride skins.
I covered this in a previous video.
It's worth noting on this, because I've got a screenshot here, that Halo has locked their announcement that they made on this on X so that nobody can reply.
Same with what we were talking about with Square Enix. It's what they all do. They don't want, they say it's all about inclusivity, and then they don't let you be included.
But here it is here.
Unless you agree with the ideology, because at the end of the day, it's not even a joke anymore. It's literally a cult. It's not hyperbole. It is a cult in every sense of the word.
with it locked. This Pride Month, we celebrate love, diversity.
This pisses me off so much because Halo used to be one of my favorite games ever made. Halo 2 especially. And I see them pissing on this just like Square Enix pissing on Square Enix. I'm just like, these companies, they've been overrun by activism.
And the freedom to be yourself. Log into Halo Infinite this month to unlock the Unity coding visor and emblem and wear them with pride. So it's I guess rainbow war paint on your Halo armor. Oh my heavens word. WordPress, check this one out. This is pretty good. So Automatic, we won't even get into all the random licensing and legal drama behind Automatic and WordPress right now, but Automatic is all in on Pride Month. Quote from their declaration, from their website: "We're still here and we're still queer." They're holding a Pride Month photo drive with their corporate LGBT organization, which is named Queeromatic.
The hell?
Happy Pride Month. At Automatic, we're celebrating our very own LGBT resource group, Queeromatic. Discover what we've been doing and how we're creating a better, more inclusive web. Rainbow. Happy Pride. First, however, we also want to say that we're still here and we're still queer. This might seem obvious, but as more and more states introduce legislation that constrains our lives and liberties, it also feels important to say, just take a break for a second. That's not really a thing that's happening. If you're like, let's say you're a gay guy. What state has introduced legislations that say you can't be a gay guy anymore?
None.
I can't think of any.
Zero.
How about if you're a lesbian and
None.
you're at home
I already know
and
the
you're
answer.
like, oh, I'm a
Zero.
lesbian in California. Okay,
Zero.
that's fine. How about a lesbian in Alabama?
Fine.
You can still be a lesbian in Alabama.
Yeah.
How about a lesbian in Texas? Ooh, Texas. Well, you can still be a lesbian in Texas. Not seeing any sort of...
I clash with a lot of the strongly religious people with this one. I will fight for the right for people to be gay all day long. I just stay the fuck away from the kids and try to indoctrinate people with that shit. But you want to be gay? Have at it, bro. Like what? It's not my thing, but who am I to tell you how to live your life? I don't care.
Sorts of issues. The only thing I can think of that this could be referring to is some states are passing additional laws above and beyond the federal laws that already exist to try and protect young children from being gender mutilated.
And they get mad at that. I mean, that's a pretty big tell right there.
Essentially, by getting sex change operations on little kids. That's the only thing I can think of.
Right. No, I know Netflix foreign. I know. That's a good point. There's a group called Gays Against Groomers, and they're against this shit. Don't think all gays approve this shit. No, that's true. And that's a really good clarification that I should say, too. I don't mean to paint every gay person or every lesbian as someone that's trying to indoctrinate kids. I'm directly referencing the ones that are like, oh, no, you're taking away our rights. Like, no, we're not. No, we're not. The only people that are saying that kind of shit are the ones that want to do more than what they already have. And that's where you're going to be scared.
So is Automatic saying that they're really upset about they're having less ability to do weird sex things with little kids? That's what it seems like to me. We've again renewed our longstanding partnership with Out in Tech. This will be our 8th year.
Thank you. I am Batman. Yes. Anyone with a sticker that says protect trans kid is a very red flag. Like in the background of David Jaffe. Yep. Remember when I said that I would feel like I failed as a father if my kids came out as trans? Well,
year of collaboration. We continue to build upon the 35 hackathons we've co-sponsored and 250 WordPress.com sites we've built for various nonprofits all over the world. Okay. Finally, we're repeating the Share Your Pride photo drive. This is all from Automatic, the WordPress company, complete with some cash prizes for selected winners. Representation matters, and we want the WordPress photo directory to have strong rainbow-themed options for anyone blogging about Pride Month this month, or sharing about their LGBTQ plusness. Queeromatic was the company's very first resource group, and we remain steadfast in our mission, advocating for our fellow LGBTQ plus employees, sharing support through social calls and private Slack channels, and proudly sharing who we are in our words, blah, 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 blah. Happy Pride and happy WordPressing. And then there's a little picture of the Share Your Pride photo drive. Let's go back to Microsoft for a second.
Yikes.
Microsoft, they keep continuing. They keep, like, every couple of days they come out with some more Pride stuff. Microsoft is all in on Pride.
Again, imagine how much money Microsoft has spent just on their marketing department and the time to put all this stuff together. Think about the finances behind this shit.
This is the Xbox new logo for June. And if you're listening to the audio version of the show, if you're listening to the podcast, it is the Xbox logo, except with the, what's that flag called? It's the trans and progressive Pride flag. It's more trans than anything else. So, and it's just this flag is just wrapping all over the Xbox standard, X with the circle logo. Then they put that up on their social media sites and everywhere, because why not? And of course, the Microsoft Developer X account at MSDev also started in on Pride activism. They replaced their social media banners with Pride for each other.
Yikes.
Just because.
Yikes.
It's everywhere. It's just popping up on Microsoft websites and Microsoft newsletters and inside Microsoft sponsored video games, and Microsoft Office software has Pride themes, and it's just on and on.
That's a good point. Is it going to change for Juneteenth?
Sega, the makers of Sonic the Hedgehog, they're proud to announce that this month the Sega Stream team are fundraising for Kaleidoscope Trust, an international charity fighting for a future where LGBT plus people everywhere can live free, safe, and equal lives, which they can already do in the United States. So that's not a thing. The Fedora Linux project finally came out, and on June 8th, they finally changed their social media pictures and whatnot.
Why would you change it on June 8th? Is that one of those you just kind of like, coast is clear, I think we could do this? Or should I say coast is queer? Sorry, I had
to a Pride themed rainbow. And Fedora of course is owned by Red Hat, which is IBM. So this is really the first thing IBM has done that's really Pride related that I've been able to see. But here's the thing. They only did this on Mastodon, the Fediverse social media network that is really only used by extreme leftists.
I almost wonder if this flew under the radar of IBM, because again, like I was saying with Microsoft, these companies get so big, they buy up these companies underneath them, and those companies buy up other companies underneath them. And then you have a social media manager of one of those companies that does not reach the owner of IBM and the CEOs over there. And there's not any kind of conversation between them. I could see this being one of those situations. I'd like to think.
They did not change it anywhere else, right? They're not using the Pride rainbow graphics for their Linux distribution. I'm
not saying IBM's not super woke. I'm just saying if nothing IBM is doing the gay stuff, but then like a subsidiary of a subsidiary is, it might be a rogue person. That's all.
X or any other social media site, just on Mastodon, as far as I can tell. And I feel like that's kind of telling in a way, right? It's interesting. As I've been looking through, that's where we'll stop on that. But as I've been watching all the big tech companies, most of them have been dialing it back. Right? Hewlett Packard dialing it back, Cisco dialing it back. I mean, it's one tech company after another that are, some of them aren't mentioning Pride at all in 2025. So overall, the amount of Pride Month stuff is way, way, way down, except Microsoft. Microsoft is turning up the pride to 11. I mean, they're going full Spinal Tap on this one. It's intense levels of Pride Month stuff, and it's very heavily focused on trans activism.
Yes.
And
yes, the trans stuff is like a new thing. That's the weird part about all this. Like, it used to just be like the rainbow stuff, and people are like, ugh, it's exhausting, it's stupid, but whatever. You start doing the trans stuff, people, even gay people, start drawing lines. Like, wait a second, they're not with us. What the hell's this? This is where it starts to get really strange.
encouraging employees to trans themselves, encouraging employees to transgender and transsexual or whatever their children.
And then you have to ask the obvious question of what's next? Because if they go from the rainbow to trans, it's like, okay, if that gets normalized, then what do they try to move to? And we all know what the next thing is.
Promoting trans ideas. That seems to be the real focus of Microsoft Games, of Microsoft Office, of Microsoft Corporate, the Microsoft developer accounts, the Microsoft. They're going full on trans. I gotta say, Microsoft is the queen of Pride Month as far as the tech industry is concerned. I mean, no one did it quite like them. I mean, the Gnome Foundation tried, but they can't hold a candle to what Microsoft is doing. Though, and I did think this was funny. The Gnome project made what day was this? On June 9th, they made a post. And in that post, this is an official announcement from gnome.org. In that post, they were declaring and making a technology announcement, saying that for the next release of their desktop environment, they would no longer use the X11 Windows server. Okay, all right. So it's a technological product announcement. But at the very, very bottom of that announcement, they inserted their hey, it's Pride Month, because this is June, right? So they say Happy Pride Month and Free Palestine.
What the fuck does that have to do with the other thing? What? Why are these people all the same, by the way? Every single time.
It's emoji. Now, I thought that was a little funny. They just got to sneak in that Free Palestine bit. And also, if you were in, let's say, Gaza right now, waving the trans progress flag dressed in drag, I'm guessing you're not making it out alive, because the government of Gaza and the people of Gaza
will murder you,
will probably kill you. So I found it very, very funny that they're celebrating Happy Pride Month and Free Palestine.
These people are retarded. That's really all it comes down to. They are retarded. I don't have any further explanation to it. I know that's kind of boiling it down to something very oversimplified, but it's really not that complicated. It's really not. They don't understand how good they have it in America. So they think the rest of the world is like America, and it's not. And they get very confused very easily because, again, I point back to what I said originally, because they're retarded.
Palestine all at the same time. Kind of weird things to squish together there, Gnome. Maybe they need to look into this. Maybe they don't know what Pride Month is at Gnome. Maybe they don't know what Palestine and Gaza. Maybe they don't know much about Hamas, the terrorist organization that says all gay people should be dead. I don't know if they know what a lot of those things are, but maybe they should. I don't know. I know
it's all about virtue signaling, because if any of these people actually cared that much about the cause, they would move there and fight for the cause there. Doing it here does jack shit except just annoy people that don't care about it.
I know a lot of people on the political left really like Wikipedia. Maybe you guys should look it up on Wikipedia, because even Wikipedia knows this stuff. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making it possible for me to do this hard-hitting coverage that is truly groundbreaking. Go to lunduke.com, click on all the links. Lots of ways to support the Lunduke Journal, lots of ways to watch the shows, to listen to things, and
Yeah, I'm going to
and
share
have a good
this.
time.
Hold on.
I want to mention something real quickly here, because there are a lot of ways that you can enjoy the stuff that I put out.
I'm sharing this link in the chat for you guys.
Coverage from the Lunduke Journal, but they're not all the same. Like, for example, there's lots of ways to watch these shows, and they're all listed there, from Locals and Rumble and X and YouTube and Facebook and Patreon, the MP4 downloads. They all kind of have their pluses and minuses, right? And so I liked having those options there for you to choose whichever one is most convenient for you. You can also listen to an audio podcast with an RSS feed.
Yeah.
You can listen via iTunes or Spotify or whatever.
This guy
And
goes out of the
what
way
a lot
for
of
it, too.
people are choosing to do recently is to watch the shows over on X.
You know
which is
what's interesting about that is I follow this guy. I'm subscribed to him on YouTube, and I never get his videos in my feed unless I go to subscriptions. But like promoted, never. X, right there. That we're watching this on X right now, not on YouTube. I find that fascinating. I find that very fascinating. Almost like YouTube doesn't want to promote people like this. Interesting.
is an absolutely fantastic way to do it. But I want to make sure you are aware, if you follow me on any of these platforms, you will get the final produced shows and announcements, the podcast, the videos, all of it that's very laser focused on the world of technology, big tech, open source, all of it. It may veer into political stuff from time to time, but it's only as it relates to the tech companies. You'll notice we don't talk about, like, I don't know, Harley Davidson motorcycles and Walmart relating to what they're doing about Pride Month. It's just tech companies that we focus on. But if you follow me on X, you're going to get a slightly different experience. You get all the tech stuff kind of as I find it, as I post it, as I look at it and vet it. But you'll also find other ideas from me, other concepts, other topics that I'll talk about. So if you don't want the non-tech stuff from Lunduke, right? You don't want to hear my thoughts on politics and non-tech history and religion and possibly popular culture. Don't follow me on X, because on X you get the fire hose of just unfiltered, crazy Lunduke stuff.
I feel like this is the same disclosure I should give. don't follow me on X if you don't want the fire hose of me.
And ideas. But if you want all of that along with the tech stuff as it rolls out, X is a fun way to follow along as well. Again, all those links are up on lunduke.com. Choose whichever makes you happy. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare end broadcast.
I would love to get this guy on one of these nights. He's
Microsoft.
He's good stuff. He's good stuff. I'm a big fan of Lunduke. So shout out to Lunduke Journal. Again, I'll share this in the chat again. This guy freaking knocked it out of the park with this one, as he always does.